Thank you for watching. Subscribe on Deceived Husbands for more stories.
You fooled me, but those shattered dreams are over. I hit the radio button, switching to a late-night talk show discussing sightings of Bigfoot and UFOs. I heard that same song too many times today, and it irritated me. Why? It reminded me too much of the woman I left behind. Actually, I didn't just leave, I bolted. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Ryan Collins, and for the last 6 years, I've been married to Emily, formerly Emily Brown. We were high school sweethearts, and I believed we were destined to be together. We married right after graduation, a huge mistake in hindsight, but we were so in love that we thought we could make it work. Boy, was I wrong. Money wasn't an issue. I'm a skilled electrician by trade, something I've been doing since I was a teenager. My dad was an electrician too, and he taught me everything. I've been working with wires and circuits since I was old enough to hold tools safely. I always wanted to join my dad on job sites, but union rules and insurance regulations kept me away until I was older. However, my dad did side work at home, and he always gave me projects to handle. It was a great learning experience, and I loved it. After high school, I enrolled in an electrician certification course, but it bored me because I already knew most of what they were teaching. So, I tested out, blowing the instructors away. I got my certification and went straight to work since I already had plenty of experience. I made good money, especially when I traveled for big jobs out of state. I even did some underwater electrical work, which paid a fortune. I made enough to put Emily through college, and now she's a paralegal at a prominent law firm in downtown Denver. So, why am I driving down the highway in the middle of the night? The answer lies in the person I married and her conniving friend. Oh yeah, Emily was all sweetness when we were young, but people change, and she did. Don't get me wrong, I loved her, and I was more than happy to pay for her education. Her parents thought I'd have to go deep into debt to make it happen. They underestimated me. They were just as proud of me as they were of her on graduation day. Better yet, she graduated without a penny of student debt, thanks to me. But everything went downhill after she started working at the law firm of Reed Lawson. The first several weeks were fine, but then things started to spiral. At first, it was her female colleagues' bad influences, if you ask me. Emily began going out with them for girls' night once a week, usually on Thursdays. I didn't mind at first because she usually came home early enough for us to enjoy the evening together, and I was often away on job sites, working hard. But soon, she started going out on Thursdays and Thursdays. What really pissed me off was that Thursdays used to be our date night. When I reminded Emily, she just said, "We can always go out on Thursdays. I deserve some time with my friends." Then, she started staying out later and later, sometimes until early Thursday morning. If I tried calling her to check if she was okay, the call went straight to voicemail. Eventually, I had enough and decided to talk to her. "We need to talk," I said one Thursday morning over coffee. "About what?" she asked. "These Thursday night outings," I said. "Thursday used to be our date night, but now you're out until nearly 2 a.m. on Thursdays. What's going on? I hardly see you anymore." "The girls from the office and I like to unwind with a few drinks," she said. "And sometimes we dance, that's all. I know those clubs close by 1 a.m. at the latest," I told her. "But you've been out much later. Are you seeing someone else?" "Of course not," she said with a heavy sigh. "If you really must know, sometimes we get a late bite to eat afterward." "Yeah, but until 2 a.m.? I asked. "Sometimes," Emily said. "Well, this needs to stop," I told her. "You have to decide you're either my wife or their friend. They already see you more than I do. I didn't mind one night with the girls, but I feel like you're taking advantage of me." "I'm sorry," she said. "If you want, they'll stop going out on Thursdays." "I think that would be a good idea," I said. "That way, we can spend some time together." She nodded in agreement and went to shower. I took the opportunity to grab her phone from her purse and installed a tracking app so I could monitor where she was. Part of me hated doing it, but I felt I needed to, just for my peace of mind. Things were fine for a few weeks, but Emily soon returned to her old habits, going out on Thursdays and Thursdays. I had to find out what was happening, so I fired up the app and saw where she was. After work that Thursday, I cleaned up and headed to the club where she and her friends were. It wasn't much of a club, more like a bar with a DJ and a dance floor. I walked in and spotted her right away, sitting with a group of 4 women and 3 men. I noticed Emily was getting cozy with one guy a little too cozy. I also noticed she was wearing something much sexier than what she had on that morning. They didn't notice me until I was right at their table. Everyone but Emily looked up, and the guy next to her spoke up. "What do you want?" he asked with an attitude as if he was ready to fight. "I just got off work and thought I'd grab a beer," I said, causing Emily to look up at me in surprise. So here I walk into this bar, and look who I find. "Aren't you going to introduce me to your friends?" Emily looked around nervously, clearly embarrassed. "Everyone, this is Jack. He's my husband," she added as an afterthought. "Jack, this is everyone." "Well, hello, everyone," I said sarcastically. I saw she wasn't wearing her wedding or engagement rings. "Did you forget something?" She noticed me looking at her left hand. "I took my rings off so I wouldn't lose them," she said. I thought about calling her out but decided not to. "I see," I said. The guy next to her stood up and puffed out his chest, offering his hand. I took it. "Jason," he said. "Jason Thompson. Emily and I work together a lot," he added with a smirk. The others chuckled, except for Emily. He tried to squeeze my hand to intimidate me, but I wasn't having it. I returned the squeeze, doing my best to crush his soft hand. He winced in pain, so I let up. "I was just going to ask your wife to dance if that's okay," he said, rubbing his hand. I looked at Emily. "Is that right?" I asked her. She looked at me and slowly nodded. I thought this might be a chance to get some insight into what was really going on, so I nodded and gave him permission. "Yeah," I said. "Just keep your hands to yourself. That's my wife, and he'll be watching." He nodded as Emily scooted out of her seat. After she got up, I sat in the seat Jason had vacated and ordered a beer. Most of the others had already left. "You don't own her, you know," the girl next to me said as I waited for my beer. "And you are?" I asked. "Anna," she said. "Anna Lee. I've been mentoring Emily a bit, showing her the ropes, that kind of thing." "So, Anna Lee," I said, taking a jab at the way she and Jason introduced themselves, "who are you that I need to take marriage advice from?" "I'm Emily's friend, and like I said, I'm mentoring her," she said, taking a sip of her drink. "The partners like her work, and they have big plans for her." I didn't like her smug attitude and wondered what kind of crap she was feeding Emily. "Well, Anna," I said, "I never said I own Emily, but I am her husband. If there's something going on that's interfering with our marriage, I need to know about it." "The truth is, Jack, Emily needs to expand her horizons a bit," Anna said. "All she's ever known is college and you. She needs to, spread her wings a little. Broaden her horizons and spread her wings." "Huh?" I asked. "Anything else she needs to spread? Like maybe her legs?" "There's no need to be crude," Anna said. "But since you mention it, yes, maybe she needs to experience other things. Of course, you'll benefit in the long run." "Oh, how?" I asked. "Well, maybe she'll learn a thing or two that she can bring home to you," Anna said with a smile. "After all, you're probably getting some on the side when you go away for jobs, aren't you?" "No, Anna, I don't," I said. "I go to work, put in my hours, get paid, and come home. I love Emily and would never do anything to hurt her or jeopardize my marriage." "Well, maybe you're the one who needs to broaden your horizons a bit," she said with a smirk. "I take my wedding vows seriously," I said, "and I trust Emily to do the same. I don't see any rings on your finger. Have you ever been married?" "A couple of times, actually," she said. "Let me guess your husbands caught you cheating, didn't they?" I asked. She shrugged. "Yeah, so? No one owns me. I do what I want with whomever I want." "Well, Emily's taken, and I expect you to respect that," I said. She chuckled. "Yeah, you keep right on thinking that," she said. By then, Jason and Emily returned from the dance floor. I stood up to let Emily sit between me and Anna. I sat down, keeping Jason from sitting next to her. He didn't look too happy, but I didn't care. "So, Emily tells me you're an electrician. What do electricians make these days? 25 an hour?" Jason asked smugly. "Actually, I make over 45 an hour, more if I work underwater." "Didn't Emily tell you I paid for her college? You're paying her student loans?" he asked. "No, she has no student loans because I paid for her education. I also bought that new Ford Mustang for her." "Damn, I didn't know electricians made that much. I'm in the wrong line of work. I bet you get a lot of women on the side when you're out of town, huh? He asked, poking me with his elbow. No, I work when I'm out of town. I usually put in 16-hour days on a job site. Like I told Anna, I take my wedding vows very seriously. I'm sure you do, Jason said smugly. I didn't like where this was going, and these people were starting to piss me off. I turned to Emily. Did you drive here tonight? I asked her. Yes, she said. Good, because I've had about as much fun as I can stand. I'm going home. I expect you to follow shortly. I started to get up and accidentally knocked my nearly full, ice-cold beer into Jason's lap, soaking his khaki trousers. Oops, sorry about that. Guess you'd better get home and change your pants. He jumped up, furious, and looked like he was going to take a swing. You better make it count, pal, because I'll put you in the dirt when I get up. He saw the look in my eyes and backed down. Smart move, I told him. I turned back to Emily. You coming? I'm right behind you, she said quietly. I noticed the look Anna gave me. If looks could kill, I'd be dead already. I headed out the door without looking back. Emily pulled into the driveway a few minutes after I did. Good for her, I thought. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and waited for her in the living room. She stormed in, her face red. What the hell was that all about? You embarrassed me. I embarrassed you? I asked rhetorically. Are you following me? She asked. I shook my head. No, I was just looking to grab a beer and was surprised to see you there with your friends from work, I said, realizing that I had just lied to her for the first time. If anyone had reason to be embarrassed, it was me. Imagine how I felt when I saw my wife, the love of my life, and my best friend in the world, sitting there with some playboy, acting like a giddy schoolgirl. Then imagine how I felt when I saw you weren't wearing your wedding ring. It was like you were embarrassed to admit you're married to me. Is that it? Her face softened, and she sat down next to me. Of course not. It's just that I have to work with these people, and Jason is the attorney I work with the most. And Anna? What's her role? She's higher up in the food chain than I am. She's been mentoring me, showing me the ropes. Does that include marital advice? I asked her. What do you mean? She asked. Well, while you and Jason were dancing, she was telling me a bunch of nonsense about how you need to broaden your horizons and spread your wings. I asked if that meant spreading your legs too, and she practically admitted you had and would continue to do so. Be honest with me, have you cheated on me? No, I haven't, she said, looking down. For some reason, she couldn't look me in the eye. Was she lying to me? I hope not, because you know that's the one thing I could never forgive, I told her. Well, Anna suggested you might be seeing someone while you're gone. Are you? No. We've known each other since the 7th grade. Have you ever known me to be unfaithful to you? Ever? She shook her head. No, she said quietly. I've never cheated on you, and I never intend to. I love you too much to disrespect and hurt you like that. Besides, when I'm gone, I'm too busy working. I wasn't kidding when I told Jason I often work 16-hour days. I know. I've seen your pay stubs. There you go. What do you think paid for your college? Bought you that new car? Kept you in nice clothes all this time? That's on top of paying our regular bills. You know I've been saving up to put a nice down payment on a house. So you can tell Anna to shove her advice up her ass and shut the hell up about things she knows nothing about. You didn't like her much, did you? Emily asked. No, not at all. I don't like the crap she's been feeding you. Same with Jason. I don't trust either of them. You know she's been divorced twice for cheating? Emily looked at me, shocked. How do you know that? She asked. She told me. Seemed pretty proud of it too. I get the feeling they're up to something, and they intend to bring you down with them. You haven't done anything wrong, have you? No, Jack, I haven't. It's just what? I asked her. I enjoy going out with them, she told me. Well, I enjoy going out with you too. Think you could start spending some time with your husband? Of course, she said, wrapping her arms around my neck. I'm sorry. That's okay. You know there are only 3 things I've ever wanted in life. What's that? She asked. First, to be married to you. Second, to be the best electrician around. And third, to have a family with you. She smiled as she snuggled closer to me. Well, you got the first 2. Want to work on the third? It was my turn to smile. Let's go, I said. We ran into the master bedroom and spent the rest of the night making love. Things seemed to settle down for the next several weeks. Emily stayed home on Thursdays, and I made an effort to be more attentive and loving. I purposefully didn't mention Anna or Jason again since I trusted Emily to do the right thing. Then it happened. I came home one Thursday night and found the house dark except for some lit candles on the dining room table. I could smell lasagna from the kitchen and figured Emily had something special planned. I went into the dining room and saw our best china set on the table. When I turned around, I saw Hermie's lovely wife wearing one of the shortest dresses I had ever seen. I loved looking at her legs, and she knew it. So she had chosen a dress that showed off her best features. The front of the dress was barely covering her breasts. The dress was completely backless. She came to me and wrapped her arms around me, giving me a deep kiss. Tonight was already looking good. "Do you like what you see?" she asked. I nodded. "Oh yeah," I said, taking in her form. "I'm glad. Tonight's going to be very special." "Why is that?" I asked. "It's a surprise. Go get cleaned up, then take a seat while I get dinner." I went into the master bedroom and cleaned up, changing out of my work clothes. By the time I got back to the dining room, Emily had served the lasagna and poured us each a glass of wine. I loved Emily's cooking, especially her lasagna, which was always dripping with cheese and packed with meat and mushrooms. "I don't know which is more tempting, you or the lasagna," I said as I sat down. She giggled as she sat down. "Well, I hope you enjoy both tonight," she said with a smile. I dug into my lasagna, and it was as delicious as always. I took a few sips of my wine, not wanting to get too buzzed for the fun I knew would come later. After I finished everything, I felt a bit strange. I tried to stand up, but I was so dizzy I nearly fell down. I looked at Emily, confused. What had she done? I asked myself. I tried to speak, but found it difficult. Why began, but the next thing I knew, I was falling to the floor. When I finally came around, I found myself naked, secured to a chair in our bedroom. My arms were zip-tied to the chair arms, and my legs were zip-tied to the chair legs. There was a contraption around my waist, and my member was stuck inside a strange-looking tube. What the hell is this? I asked myself. I was livid and furious, yelling out, "Emily, what the hell is going on?" A few moments later, Emily walked into the bedroom, but she wasn't alone. Anna was with her. "What kind of twisted game is this?" I demanded. "Get me out of this chair right now." "I'm sorry, Jack," Anna said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "It's for the best." "The best for what?" I shouted. "So you can see your wife explore new experiences," Anna said calmly. "And maybe her legs too." "Was this your idea to drug me and tie me up?" I asked. "Of course. Emily told me you'd never agree to this willingly, so I gave her something to knock you out for a while. This way, you can watch your wife with other men, and there's nothing you can do to stop it." I looked at Emily, angrier than I'd ever been in my life. "And you went along with this? You know what this means." "I'm really sorry, Jack," Emily said, her voice trembling, but Anna said it was the only way. "Trust me, please. This won't affect us at all. It's just physical. I still love you." Anna said most married men fantasize about this kind of thing. Well, I don't, and never have. And yes, it does affect us. I told you I wouldn't tolerate cheating. "And what is this thing you put on me?" I asked, nodding toward the chastity cage. "It's called a chastity cage," Emily explained. "It's designed to give me complete control over you, and to remind you who's in charge of our marriage. I swear to God, if you don't untie me right now and get this thing off me, we're finished," I said, my voice low and menacing. "Please don't be like that, Jack. It's just one night. They'll let you loose when we're done." I shook my head in disbelief. "You can't be serious, Emily. Cut me loose right now." Anna stepped closer with something in her hand. Before I could react, she shoved a ball gag into my mouth, silencing me. "You need to be quiet and let your wife have some fun with real men," Anna said, her tone cold. I struggled to shake my head, trying to resist, but Anna secured the gag tightly. I fought against the restraints, but they held firm. Anna walked to the bedroom door and opened it. Jason and another man from the office entered, both smirking as they saw me. Well, the cuck is ready for his initiation," Jason said with a cruel grin. "He sure is," Anna replied, "but he's not being very cooperative." "Maybe this will help," Jason said as he reared back and punched me across the face. Then again. I tasted blood in my mouth, my anger reaching a boiling point. Don't hurt him, Emily screamed. You promised you wouldn't hurt him. I owe him for ruining my pants, Jason sneered. Now he's going to watch as I have some real fun with his wife. With that, he grabbed Emily's dress and tore it off. Get those panties off, he ordered. Emily hesitated for a moment, but then dropped her panties and handed them to Jason, who sniffed them before tossing them at me. As I watched in horror, Emily got on her knees in front of Jason and began giving him what she thought was an innocent kiss, but the implication was clear. My body trembled with rage. Jason and Anna laughed at my torment. Your wife is really talented, Jason said with a smirk. Soon, he finished, and Emily, to my disgust, smiled at the camera Anna was holding. Something about the way she did it made me realize this wasn't the first time she'd done this with him. Emily wasn't done yet, though, as she moved on to the other man. You like watching your wife with other men, don't you? Anna taunted as she recorded everything. Admit it, she demanded. I shook my head, glaring at her with pure hatred. After Emily finished with the second man, Jason led her to the bed. It's time for the main event, he said, glancing at me. I tried to look away, but it was impossible to block out what was happening. Jason started with Emily, and she climbed on top of him. Do it, she urged. Damn, Jason growled as he made his move. Oh God, that feels so good, Emily moaned. Better than your husband? Jason asked. Oh yes, so much better, Emily replied. At that moment, as tears streamed down my face, whatever love I had for Emily was completely extinguished. I had read stories about men getting turned on by seeing their wives with other men, but all I felt was overwhelming hatred. I tried to focus on anything else, but it was impossible. For the next hour, the three of them swapped partners, doing everything they could think of as Anna recorded the whole thing. When Jason finally finished with Emily for the second time, they got off the bed and walked over to me. Did you enjoy the show, honey? They all laughed. That wasn't so bad, was it? Anna added, mockingly. Jason and the other man pushed Anna and Emily out of the way. Make sure you get this, Jason said to Anna. The next thing I knew, both men started urinating on me, making sure to cover my face with their urine. I thought I was going to throw up. Emily laughed as they degraded me. When they finished, Jason leaned in close. If you say or do anything, I swear I'll make your life a living hell, he threatened. From now on, your wife belongs to me. I'll come over whenever I want and do whatever I want. You got that? He stood up and motioned to the other man. Come on, let's get out of here, he said. After they left, Anna approached me. Don't even think about causing any problems. Jason wasn't kidding. This was just a warm-up compared to what we could do to you, understand? She turned to Emily. Wait until I'm gone, then let him loose. If he gives you any trouble, call me. Emily nodded silently. After Anna left, Emily removed the gag from my mouth and cut the ties holding me to the chair. Then she grabbed a key from the nightstand and took off the chastity cage. She started to say something, but I cut her off. I got dressed quickly and went straight to the phone. What are you doing? She asked as I dialed 911. I may be an electrician, but I'm not stupid. I knew that what she and her accomplices did was illegal, and I intended to see them behind bars that very night. Emily panicked as she realized I was calling the cops to report a sexual assault and illegal detention. I grabbed her phone to prevent her from calling Anna and took her keys out of her purse so she couldn't drive off. She tried to take them back, but I kept them out of her reach and stuffed them into my pocket. When the call ended, I sat down and waited for the cops. I knew they would want to examine me and take samples of the evidence. Please don't press charges. I don't want to go to jail, Emily begged. Trust me, after what you've done, jail is the safest place for you right now. If I could have it my way, you'd never make it to jail. I'd make you beg for mercy, but I don't want to end up there myself, so you might as well get dressed. The cops will be here any minute. You heard what Jason and Anna said. They mean it. You don't want to mess with them. Get dressed, I ordered her coldly. Emily saw the look on my face and wisely chose not to push me. She quietly put her clothes on as I felt her phone buzz in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw a text from Anna. Everything okay? Anna's message read, Everything is fine. I typed back. He's not happy, but hell, deal with it. I sent the message, hoping Anna would buy the lie. I put the phone back in my pocket. By the time Emily came into the living room, the cops had arrived. I opened the door and let them in. One look at my face was enough to tell them something was very wrong. One officer took my statement while the other talked to Emily in the bedroom. The officer taking my statement called for an ambulance and took swabs of the fluids on my face, placing them in evidence bags. The second officer returned from the bedroom, and they conferred outside the front door before coming back in. When they did, the second officer went into the bedroom and returned with Emily, her hands cuffed behind her back as she cried, "Please don't let them arrest me. It was supposed to be just for fun," she sobbed. I shook my head and turned away from her. By then, 2 more police cars had arrived along with an ambulance. A female officer took Emily into custody. The officer who took my statement said she was being arrested for illegal detention, drugging me, and sexual assault. "Would like to have you checked out at the hospital. We'll need to get samples of your blood and urine to determine what they dosed you with." I thought about arguing but decided against it. The more evidence against those scumbags, the better. "You should also consider getting a protection order," he told me. He handed me a card with the name of an attorney in the local district attorney's office and a phone number. "I've already contacted her, and she said she would meet you at the hospital," he told me. I thanked him and went with the paramedics, who gave me a quick examination on the way to the hospital. Once there, they cleaned me up, took blood and urine samples, and gave me some painkillers, which started to kick in just as a well-dressed woman entered the exam room. "Ryan Collins?" she asked. I nodded. "That's me. Mr. Harris, I'm Natalie Morgan, the assistant DA assigned to your case. How are you feeling?" "I've been better. A little tired right now, but the painkillers are helping." "Mr. Harris," the officers briefed me on the situation. "I've also been informed that the other woman and the 2 men involved have been taken into custody and are being held at Central Jail pending their hearing. I'm requesting that they be held without bail, but the reality is they'll probably be released on their own recognizance. The firm they work for has a lot of pull in the county, so I've already initiated steps to get you a protection order." "Thank you. Do you think ITLL do any good?" She shrugged. "I can't say for sure. It might help, but there's no guarantee." I nodded. "I understand. If there's any comfort, they'll be in lockup at least until Wednesday morning for their arraignment. After that, I get it. I'm just an ordinary guy with no powerful friends. When push comes to shove, I'm on my own." "You have me, Mr. Harris," she said firmly, "as long as you don't do anything reckless. But you may want to consider hiring a divorce attorney unless you're planning to stay married." "No, I'm done with her," I said. She nodded in understanding. "I've been told they plan to keep you overnight for observation. It's probably for the best since your apartment is now a crime scene. ITLL takes some time to process everything and collect evidence." "Do you own a gun, by the way?" I shook my head. "No, I don't. After my younger brother accidentally shot himself with my dad's .22, my dad got rid of all his guns, and I never felt the need to own one." "Okay, just so you know, our state has strong castle laws, so you're allowed to defend yourself in your home. They'll keep that in mind. What about drugs? Do you have any in your apartment?" "No, but apparently, I can't say the same for my wife." "Okay, I'll make sure that's noted," she said. After she left, I found myself drifting off to sleep and woke up later when they wheeled me into a private room. After settling me in, the nurses gave me more medication, and I quickly fell asleep again. The next morning, my parents visited me after I finished breakfast. They sat quietly as I recounted everything that had happened. My father was livid by the time I finished. "What are you going to do, son?" he asked. "I'm divorcing her," I told him. He nodded approvingly. "Good for you. Is there anything we can do?" "I could use the name of a good divorce lawyer. I know a few people. Let me see what I can find. And I could use a ride home after I get discharged." "No problem. Just call me when you're ready. In the meantime, get some rest and don't do anything rash." "You know me," I said with a small smile. "Yeah, I do," he said, smiling back. "That's why I said not to do anything stupid." We all shared a brief laugh, and they left after my mother gave me a hug. A couple of hours later, Emily's parents came by. We had always gotten along well, and they were like a second set of parents to me. I told them what had happened, and they were both shocked and embarrassed by their daughter's actions. I take it you'll be filing for divorce? Her father asked. I nodded. Yeah, I can't live with what she's done. I understand, and I'm truly sorry. Is there anything we can do? Her mother asked. If Emily gets out of jail, she's going to need a place to stay. The assistant DA is getting a protection order, so she can't stay at the apartment. She can come stay with us, her mother said. Thanks, I told her. We said our goodbyes, and they left. Later that day, the doctor checked me out and declared me fit to be released. The nurses began the discharge paperwork, which took a while, so I called my dad to let him know. My parents showed up just as the paperwork was completed. After the nurse gave me instructions, she wheeled me to the loading zone where my dad's car was parked. They helped me get in, and we headed home. Before long, we pulled up in front of the apartment. My dad helped me to the door, and we said our goodbyes. Remember, if you need anything, just call. Thanks, Dad. I walked into the apartment and took in the scene. The police had gone through everything, and I knew it would take a while to get things back in order. I noticed a message on the answering machine. I pressed play. Dead meat, the message said. Nothing else. No introduction. Nothing. I looked at the caller ID and saw the number was listed as private. Something about the message seemed familiar, so I replayed it a few times. Then it hit me his wasn't someone speaking directly into the phone. The phrase was a line from one of those old Rocky movies, specifically the one with Mr. T. Whoever sent the message had recorded it and played it back over the phone. A few minutes after I figured that out, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw a young, attractive brunette standing outside. I recognized her from the club the first time I saw Jason. I looked around but didn't see anyone else. I grabbed my cell phone, activated the camera, and set it to record, then placed it back in my pocket. I opened the door, keeping the chain on. Yes? I asked. Mr. Harris? She asked quietly. That's me. And you are? Julia Adams. I work with your wife. May I come in, please? Are you alone? I asked. Yes, I am. I closed the door, unlatched the chain, and opened it back up to let her in. After she stepped inside, I locked the door behind her. What can I do for you, Miss Sanders? Please call me Holly, she said. All right, Holly. What can I do for you? She handed me a manila envelope. What's this? I asked. Open it, please, she said quietly. I opened the envelope and glanced inside. I saw a couple of photos, so I set the envelope on the coffee table and excused myself to grab a pair of latex gloves from the kitchen. I didn't want to risk leaving fingerprints on anything. I returned to the living room, pulled out the photos, and was shocked by what I saw. They were graphic images of a dead man on his knees, hands tied behind his back. The other photo was the same man, but from a different angle. I looked at Holly. Who is this? I asked. It was my husband, she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. His name was David. Did you report this? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, the police ruled it a suicide. How? You don't understand. The firm we work for has friends in very high and very low places. They own a good part of the police force, and several judges are on their payroll. I see. Did Jason do this? She shrugged. I don't know. He might have ordered it. So why are you still with the firm? I asked. I have no choice, she said. Let me guess you're not just a paralegal, are you? That's right. They did to us what Jason and Anna did to you, except my husband went after Jason and paid the ultimate price. So, you're basically a pawn for the firm, aren't you? She nodded. Yes, it's my job to be available for the attorneys and their clients. And Anna? What's her role in all this? She's like the madam. She handles all our assignments, and she was bringing Emily into her stable. And you were going to let it happen? I asked, incredulous. I didn't have a choice, she said. I looked in the envelope and saw a folded piece of paper. I pulled it out and opened it. It was a note, with letters cut from magazines and newspapers glued to the paper. Talk about cliché. I almost laughed but held it in. Ryan Collins, the note began. Back off, or this could be you. I looked at Holly. Did you read this? I asked. She shook her head. No, it was dropped off at my apartment this morning with a note to deliver it to this address. Would you be willing to tell this to the district attorney? I asked. She shook her head. No, I'd like to stay alive. Thank you. You have no idea how dangerous these people are, especially Anna. How many people in your firm know about all this? Pretty much everyone above the mid-level executive level. I nodded. Figures. Thank you for bringing this to me, Holly. I'm sorry for everything you've been through. You seem like a really good person. Emily's lucky to have you as a friend. Thanks for saying that, Jack. I hope everything works out for you. Have a good day, I added as I opened the door for her. I watched her leave, making sure no one else was around. I closed and locked the door. The voicemail and this delivery had changed things significantly. I still intended to divorce Emily, but these threats raised the stakes. And trust me, after I'm done with Jason and Anna, Emily will be praying for the Grim Reaper to take her. I ended the video recording on my phone and called Rachel. Fortunately, she had written her personal cell number on the back of her card. "This is Natalie Morgan," she answered. I told her about the voicemail and the envelope I had just received. "This changes everything. All right, I want you to bring that to me right now." She gave me her address and ended the call. I decided it was time to get out of town for a bit. I packed enough clothes for a few days and tossed them in the back seat of my Ford F-150. I had another idea and grabbed the chastity cage Emily had used on me. That went into the truck too. I wanted to explore a thought I had. After loading some basic tools, I called my boss to let him know what was happening and asked for some time off, which he quickly granted. "The project's done, and you've got plenty of vacation time saved up, so take whatever time you need and get this sorted out," he said. "Thanks, boss." I double-checked everything, locked the door, and hit the road. I reached Rachel's condo in less than 30 minutes. She was shocked when she saw the photos and the note. I also recorded the conversation I had with the woman who delivered this. It's pretty eye-opening. Let me see it. I pulled out my phone and played the video for her. "Oh my God," she gasped when the video ended. "This explains a lot. Can I get a copy of that?" I handed her the phone so she could make a copy. When she was done, I remembered that I still had Emily's phone in my pocket. I pulled it out and handed it to her. "What's this?" Rachel asked. "It's Emily's phone. I took it the night Jason assaulted me. I forgot about it until now. Maybe you can find something useful on it. We'll have our tech team take a look," she said. She then sat back in her chair. On second thought, I might need to get the state or federal authorities involved. If what Holly said is true, we can't even trust our own police department. She looked up at me. "What are you planning to do?" "I'm getting out of town for a bit." She nodded. "What about protective custody? Maybe we should put you in a witness protection program." "Yeah, right. So Jason and his buddies know exactly where I am." "No thanks." "All right, just let me know where you are, okay?" "Will do." I left, unsure of where I was headed, but knowing I needed to escape for a while. I stopped at a bank and withdrew as much cash as I could, then drove around, keeping a close eye out for any cars that might be tailing me. All I could think about were those photos of that poor man who had been killed because he stood up to Jason and Anna. I knew that if I wasn't careful, that could be my fate too. Late that night, an idea came to me. I pulled into a rest stop and made a call. I hoped it wasn't too late, and fortunately it wasn't. "Yeah," came the gruff voice at the other end. "Dave, it's Jack," I said. Dave was an old friend, someone I could trust. We had worked together on several jobs and had always gotten along well. "Jack, you old son of a gun. What's going on?" "I've got a little problem and was wondering if I could crash at your place for a few days." "Sure thing, buddy. Just do me a favor and grab a couple of six-packs on your way up." "No problem. See you in a few hours." "See you then." Feeling a bit more secure, I got back on the highway and headed north. I spotted a convenience store, so I stopped and picked up a couple of six-packs, a styrofoam cooler, and some ice to keep the beer cold. I also refilled my coffee and grabbed a couple of packs of cigarettes. I didn't smoke much, but I knew Dave did, and I wanted to show my appreciation for letting me stay at his place. Dan Jones was about 10 years older than me and had worked with my father. That's how we met. He had stayed at our place a few times when he was working in our area, and he was like a big brother to me. I learned a lot from him in my dad's shop. He had a tough upbringing. His father worked in the shipyards and died from complications due to mesothelioma, thanks to constant asbestos exposure. After his father died, his younger sister Samantha stayed home to care for their mother until she passed away from stomach cancer a couple of years ago. I had known Samantha for a long time. She was a no-nonsense type, attractive in a girl-next-door kind of way. Of course, I never made a move on her, partly because of my friendship with Dave and mostly because I was already involved with Emily. Bev and I got along well, more like siblings than anything else, always ribbing each other. I hadn't seen her in a while and was curious to see how she was doing. Like me, Dave married young but ended up divorced when he found his wife with one of her coworkers. He never remarried but did date occasionally. Most of his time was spent looking after Samantha, who now lived with him. Samantha, of course, would say she was looking after him. I pulled up in front of Dave's two-story log house around 3 a.m., grabbed my stuff in the ice chest, and met Dave on the front porch. "I hope you got some beer in there," he said with a smile, taking the pack of smokes I handed him. He opened the door and helped me bring everything inside. I carried the ice chest into the kitchen and saw a gorgeous blonde coming down the stairs wearing a long t-shirt and short pajama bottoms. "Who's the blonde bombshell?" I asked Dave. He laughed. "You know who I am." "Numbnuts," the blonde said. I did a double take and realized it was Samantha. She looked nothing like the awkward teenager I remembered. Her legs were toned, her figure had filled out, and her hair reached nearly to her waist. "Samantha?" I asked, surprised. "Is that really you?" "You know it is," she said sarcastically. "Why are you here so early in the morning? Did Emily catch you cheating and throw you out?" "No, not quite," I said, a bit of edge in my voice. Bev's expression softened as she noticed my bruised face. "I'm sorry, Jack," she said, concern in her voice. "What happened? Are you okay?" "Not really. That's why I'm here." "Why don't you grab a beer and tell us what's going on?" Dave suggested. I nodded, grabbed 3 beers, and headed into the living room. I handed one to Dave and then turned to Samantha. "You sure you're old enough to drink?" I asked sarcastically. She smirked, flipping me off playfully, and took a beer. "Spill it. What's going on with you two?" "It's pretty embarrassing," I admitted. "So what? We're adults, and we're practically family. Out with it." "All right," I said before launching into the whole story about Emily and Jason. I even showed them the video I had taken of my conversation with Holly. They were both stunned into silence when I finished. "Damn," Dave finally said, taking a long swig of his beer. "Do you think they know where you are now?" "I don't think so. I didn't see any cars following me." "Good. We're on top of this hill, and we can see anyone coming up. Plus, I still have those guns I bought from your dad after Timmy's accident. You still remember how to shoot, don't you?" I nodded. "Yeah, but I haven't touched a gun since then," I said. My younger brother Thomas, or Timmy, had accidentally shot himself in the leg with my dad's .22 years ago. It was just a minor flesh wound, but my dad felt so guilty that he got rid of all his guns and never replaced them. "That's all right. We'll take you out back tomorrow and let you get familiar with them again. Bev can help. Tusha's gotten pretty good with a rifle." I looked at Samantha, surprised. She sat up a bit straighter, a wicked smile on her face. "Does your dad know you're here?" Dave asked me. I shook my head. "No, I haven't told anyone where I am. You'll need to let the assistant DA know, though." "Good idea. Also, don't use your cell phone unless you have to. In fact, it might be a good idea to turn it off and remove the battery, just in case." "Good thinking," I said, powering down my phone and removing the battery. "So, Emily and her friends are going before the judge on Wednesday?" Samantha asked. "Yeah, the arraignment is on Wednesday. The DA is hoping the judge will hold them without bail, but after what I heard from Holly, I'm not so sure that'll happen." "Well, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need to. I have a job to get to a week from Wednesday, and it'll be gone for a week, but if you need to hang around, that's fine." "How much time are you taking off?" "I was planning on 10 days. I'm hoping to have everything sorted out by then." "Like I said, you're welcome to stay here," Dave said. "Thanks, I appreciate that. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know." Dave looked at Samantha, then smiled. "I'm sure Bev can think of a thing or two, but you're our guest, so just relax and enjoy the country air." "Well, this has been fun, but I have to be up in a few hours to make breakfast," Samantha said, standing up. "I hope you like omelets and hash browns because that's what I'm fixing." "Breakfast of champions sounds great." She waved and headed upstairs. After I heard her bedroom door close, Dave and I went out back to smoke and talk. "What's the story with her anyway?" I asked. "I figured she'd be married with kids by now." "Well, She never met anyone she really cared for. She dated a few guys, but they just didn't measure up. Measure up to what? I asked. He looked at me seriously. To you. Numbnuts. She's always had a thing for you. No way, I said, shocked. Absolutely. The only reason she never told you was because of Emily. She didn't want to be the reason you two split up. Are you serious? As a heart attack. What makes you think she's still got a thing for me? I asked. I've heard her call your name in her sleep more than once. That's just a bit too much information, I said. Dave smiled and took another sip of his beer. It is what it is. So, when did Samantha turn into such a knockout? She's always been pretty, but she never flaunted it. Besides, you only had eyes for Emily, remember? Yeah, I do. Look, between you and me, I'd be more than okay with you two getting together. Just do me a favor, all right? What's that? Don't break her heart. I love my sister, and I think you do too, if you think about it. I just don't want to see her get hurt, especially not after everything she's been through. I shook my head. I'm done with Emily. Good. Well, I better hit the hay. See you in the morning. He stood up, ground out his cigarette in the can he had set up, and headed upstairs. I finished my smoke and went to bed. A few minutes later, I was asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. I woke up later when Samantha opened the door and called for me to rise and shine. I wiped the sleep from my eyes and noticed it was 8:30. I went to the bathroom, did my morning routine, and took a quick shower. After getting dressed, I headed downstairs. I noticed the ring on my finger as I got dressed and pulled it off, tossing it on the dresser. When I got downstairs, I saw Samantha in the kitchen making breakfast. She was wearing a short t-shirt and cut-off shorts, her long hair pulled back into a ponytail, and she looked more beautiful than I remembered. That smells good, I said. She smiled. I'm glad you think so. Coffee's ready if you want some. You still like hazelnut creamer? Sure do. You got some? Yep, in the fridge. Help yourself. Just save some for Dave. I poured a cup of coffee and added some creamer. I loved hazelnut thanks to my dad, and apparently, Dave had gotten hooked on it too. Go ahead and sit down, she told me with a smile. Breakfast will be ready in a minute. I took a seat at the table where Dave was already sitting, reading the Thursday paper. Morning, I said. He looked at me over the paper. Morning, he replied. Anything interesting in the news? Yeah, there's a piece about some big-shot lawyer getting arrested on various charges. Take a look, he said, handing me the article. The article didn't mention any names or give much in the way of details. It was pretty standard news fluff that wouldn't mean anything to someone who didn't know the full story. I grunted and handed the paper back. By then, Samantha had finished making breakfast and brought it to the table. This is delicious, I said after taking a bite. Thank you, kind sir, Samantha said with a smile. I'm glad you like it. We finished breakfast, and Dave stood up after cleaning his plate. I need to run into town to pick up a few things. They'll be gone for a couple of hours. If you need to call the DA, use the house phone. Thanks, I said. Samantha handed Dave a list of things she needed, and he stuffed it into his pocket. He grabbed his keys and headed out. I looked at Samantha. Need help clearing the dishes? I asked. I don't need it, but it's appreciated. Thanks for asking. I got up and helped her clear the table. She tossed me a towel, and we started washing the dishes already in the sink. I noticed you're not wearing your ring. Are you really going to divorce her? Yeah, I told her. I won't tolerate cheating, and am done. Good, she said with a slight smile. I'm glad to see you still have some backbone. What about you? How are things going with you? She shrugged. Okay, I guess. Anyone special in your life? I asked. There was once, but he was taken. Besides, I was too busy taking care of my parents to focus on a relationship. That's what I heard. Yeah, well, it had to be done. After Dad died, Mom needed my help. I worked as a waitress to bring in some money since all she had was Dad's 401k and Social Security. I worked until she got too sick, then stayed home to take care of her full-time. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. I don't regret it. I just hope someone will be around to help me when I'm that age. What happened after your mom passed? We had to sell the house and most of her stuff. Between what was left of Dad's pension and 401k, we managed to pay off all her final expenses. There was a little left over, and Dave let me have it since I took care of her. He promised Mom had let me stay here with him, and this is where I've been ever since. Dave offered to pay for me to go to college, but I turned him down. Why? I don't want to owe anyone. I want to make it on my own. So, I stay here and work at the diner in town. I make enough to cover my expenses, and am taking some business courses at night. Good for you. Yeah, well, Dave has this idea about starting his own fabrication business, and he mentioned having me handle the accounting and admin work. He's still talking about that? Yeah, he does a lot of custom work for people around here, grills, trailers, things like that. He makes pretty good money doing it. His dream is to work out of his shop full-time. That would be nice. We fell into a comfortable silence, and I found myself admiring her more than ever. I realized how beautiful she was, not just on the outside, but in every way that mattered. She glanced at me before speaking again. "What are you staring at?" she asked. "I think I'm looking at the most beautiful woman I've ever met." I thought I saw a tear in her eye. "Stop teasing me," she said quietly, looking down. "I'm not. I can't help but admire you. You put your life on hold for your parents. You turned down Dave's offer to pay for college, and you're working your way through school on your own. I'm just sorry I didn't notice it sooner." "Well, you were wrapped up in Emily, so I can't really hold it against you." "Yeah, I guess you're right." With the dishes done, she drained the sink and dried her hands. Then she turned to me, her eyes serious. "She used you, you know. I think you're right." "Right? Of course I'm right. I saw through her a long time ago. Why didn't you say anything? You wouldn't have believed me." I realized she was probably right. She could do no wrong in your eyes. She had you so wrapped around her finger you'd have done anything for her. All I wanted was to make her happy. And look where that got you. She got her degree, her new car, all the nice things she wanted, all on your dime. Then, when she didn't need you anymore, she traded you in for someone else. I'm glad she's in jail, because if she were here right now, I'd tear her apart. I believe you would. "I just want to know one thing," she said, her hands on her hips. "What's that? Are you going to fall for her tears and take her back?" "No, I'm done." "Good. Don't let her manipulate you again." "I want." She stood there, watching me with those gorgeous eyes of hers, and I felt something stir inside me that I hadn't felt in a long time. "You want to go shoot some guns?" I asked. She smiled. "Sure. Let's get you back in the swing of things." I grabbed my coffee and followed her outside. We headed out to the back of the property, where Dave had set up a shooting range. Samantha grabbed a couple of rifles and some ammo from the shed and handed them to me. "Go ahead and load up. They'll grab the targets." I loaded both rifles and chambered a round, then double-checked everything like Dave had taught me. When Samantha returned, we set up the targets and took turns shooting. She was an excellent shot and kept all her shots inside the target center mass. I wasn't quite as good, but managed to get most of my shots inside the target. "You're a natural," she said, impressed. "Not really, but thanks for saying so." We kept at it for a while until Dave returned, and we headed back inside. "How'd it go?" Dave asked, looking at the targets. "Not bad," Samantha said. "He's a bit rusty, but he's getting back into it." "You'll be a sharpshooter in no time," Dave said with a grin. We all sat down in the living room, where I updated Dave on my plans. I told him I was thinking of selling the apartment, leaving Texas, and starting fresh. "Where will you go?" Samantha asked. "I'm not sure yet. I might head to Colorado, or maybe even Montana. I've always liked it up there. Or maybe you'll just hit the road for a while, see where it takes me. Wherever you end up, just be careful. These people are dangerous." "I know, and I plan to be." "You'll always have a place here," Dave said. "You know that, right?" "I appreciate that," I told him. The rest of the day was spent relaxing, and I decided to stick around for a while longer. The truth was, I didn't want to leave Samantha just yet. The more time I spent with her, the more I realized I had missed out on something special all those years ago. As the days passed, I grew closer to Samantha, and it was clear the feeling was mutual. We took walks around the property, went out for dinner a few times, and even attended a local festival together. I found myself falling for her in a way I never thought possible. She was everything I needed: strong, smart, beautiful, and caring. I started to imagine what life could be like with her, away from all the chaos and pain that had defined my life for the past several months. One evening, As we sat on the porch watching the sunset, I turned to her. "Samantha, I need to ask you something," I said. "What's that?" she asked, her eyes locked on mine. "Do you think there's a chance for us? I mean, for something more than just friendship?" She looked at me for a long moment before answering. "I think there's more than just a chance, Jack. I've always had feelings for you, but I never said anything because of Emily. But now, well, things are different." "They are," I agreed. She smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. "Then let's see where this goes," she said softly. I leaned in and kissed her gently, feeling a warmth spread through me that I hadn't felt in a long time. She kissed me back, and I knew right then that this was where I was meant to be. With Samantha, in this place, far away from the nightmare that had been my life. As we pulled back, she rested her head on my shoulder. "What about Emily?" she asked. "They'll deal with her. She's not my concern anymore. And Jason? Anna? We'll make sure they're taken care of too. One way or another." She nodded, trusting me completely. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt at peace. I had found something worth fighting for, and I wasn't about to let it slip through my fingers. The next morning, I called Rachel and told her I had decided to stay in Texas for the time being, at least until everything was settled. She agreed that was probably the best course of action, and I let her know where I was staying, just in case. Over the next few weeks, I stayed with Dave and Samantha, keeping a low profile while Rachel worked on the case. I spent most of my time helping Dave with his projects, and we started laying the groundwork for his fabrication business. Samantha and I grew closer each day, and it wasn't long before we were inseparable. One day, as we were working in the shop, Rachel called with an update. The judge had granted the protection order, and the state had taken over the case, which meant the local authorities were no longer involved. Jason, Anna, and Emily had all been charged with multiple felonies, including sexual assault, illegal detention, and conspiracy. The trial was set for several weeks down the road, and Rachel was confident they would be convicted. When I told Dave and Samantha the news, they were relieved but cautious. We knew that even with the charges, Jason and Anna still had connections that could cause trouble. "We'll be ready for anything," Dave said. "They won't get to you as long as you're here." "I'm not worried," I told them. "I've got everything I need right here." And I did. With Dave and Samantha by my side, I knew I could face whatever came my way. We continued working on the business, and it wasn't long before we had a steady stream of clients. Samantha handled the accounting and admin work, just as Dave had envisioned, and I found myself enjoying the simple life we had built. Months later, as the trial date approached, Rachel called with some surprising news. Jason and Anna had struck a deal, pleading guilty in exchange for lighter sentences. They would be going to prison, but it wouldn't be for as long as we had hoped. Emily, on the other hand, had refused any plea deals and was determined to fight the charges. "It's not going to end well for her," Rachel said, "but I'll make sure she gets what she deserves." "Thanks, Rachel," I said. "I appreciate everything you've done." "Just doing my job," she replied. "Take care, Jack." With the trial behind us and the business thriving, I finally felt like I could move on from the nightmare that had been my life. Samantha and I continued to grow closer, and it wasn't long before I realized I had fallen deeply in love with her. She was everything I had ever wanted and more. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, I took her hand in mine. "Samantha, there's something I need to ask you," I said. "What's that?" she asked, her eyes filled with warmth and love. "Will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears as she nodded. "Yes, Jack. Yes, I will." I pulled her into my arms and kissed her, knowing that this was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, one filled with love, happiness, and the promise of a future together. As we stood there, wrapped in each other's embrace, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger than ever before. And that was all I needed. Wow, what a wild ride. From a tumultuous marriage to finding love again, Ryan's story had it all: betrayal, resilience, and a fresh start. But what do you think? Would you have handled things the same way? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gripping stories. See you in the next one.